Hello traders, this is Jason with MotiveWave. Welcome to the webinar on framing your trading chart with Paul Bratby. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to attend. Today's presentation will be approximately 45 to 60 minutes. There will be a Q&A section at the end of the presentation, and we will also answer a few questions between each section, so please type your questions into the question box as we go. The webinar recording will be posted within 48 hours to our video tutorial or video library section on our website. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. Before we get into the content, I have to go over a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed here do not necessarily reflect those of MotiveWave. MotiveWave has not approved or verified the content and is not making a recommendation. There is substantial risk of loss in trading commodity futures, options, stocks, equities, indices, cryptocurrencies, and foreign exchange products. Futures and options trading has large potential rewards, but also large potential risks. You must be aware of these risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the futures and options markets. Please don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. This is neither a solicitation nor an offer to buy or sell futures, stocks, or options on the same. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those discussed in the presentation. The past performance of any trading system is not necessarily indicative of a future result. We've also posted CFTC Rule 4.41 for you to read. At this point, I'm going to pass the controls over to Paul for the main presentation.
Hey everybody, welcome. So what we're going to do pretty much most of the part today is I'm just going to look at futures, but what I'm doing is basically framing the chart for a 24-hour product, so Forex or futures, it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm talking about linear and non-linear support and resistance zones, the ones where you frame your chart, and then I'm going to go into some cool new tools that we've got for MotiveWave. And how to use them within those confines of those support and resistance zones. So first of all, this is the ES chart on the 4-hour. I'm not going to be putting linear support resistance zones in there. The first thing I do when I'm looking, if I'm going to day trade futures, which I do 4 days a week, is I'm going to look for any major trend channels that are good on the 4-hour, no bigger than the 4-hour, and sometimes I'll even put it on the hourly. So with the 4-hour, if we go back to April, we can see this has been moving up on average. So I'm going to use the channel tool here. I see this peak here and here as some of my major points. So I'm going to just first off cover those off with the top end of this channel. Again, it's adjustable. It's by eye. Okay, we're not going to critically look at this, too closely, but we're just going to frame this channel. So one of the things we need to do here is put the center line on. The center line of the channel is very, very important. So it's going to go to properties here. We're going to show the middle line. In fact, if I just put, I did one earlier with the center line in. I'm just going to put just the colors a little bit there because that's a bit bright for a white chart. Okay, and apply. Okay, so one of the things we're looking at when we are putting this channel in here is we've got some really good touches on the top here. We've got some touches on the bottom. You see how this at the bottom here dives out. That's not a problem, okay? What we want is the line of best fit on this center line, okay? So even if I have to adjust this bottom line a little bit to get the line of best fit, so we get some really good rejections, both support and resistance, and some clustering. So, and what do I mean by clustering? So let me just, I'm just going to go a little bit tighter in here. Okay, I'm just going to go a little bit, just going a little bit deeper here. Right, so what I'm going to do is just highlight that most of the touches that we've got in this trend channel are on that center line, okay? So we can see where the cursor is here. We've got support. So this is non-linear support. We've got support here. We've got clustering. So we've got a clustering of 4-hour candles around that area, around that center line. we've got support here, support here. And then if we just go back into May here and just go a little bit bigger, we can see clustering of candles here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candles all clustering around that center line. So that's a cluster, okay? And then as we go along, we can see we've got great support. And then recently, we've got resistance as well. So that's the non-linear channel that we like. That we can see that ES has been moving in since the pandemic pullback. You see the pullback here? This is what I call the pandemic pullback, and now we're bouncing from that, and we have been doing since April. So we've defined that. But when I put the linear zones on, I want to go to the hourly time frame, okay? Because what's happened in the last few weeks or so is really going to be important to me on the hourly time frame, not really the 4-hour. So we go down to the hourly, and we want to really start to delve into this. We even want to just go back. Okay, so we can see we're in the channel there. And I want to just go, and I want to see some highs here. Let me just redo this chart. Bear with me, guys. I'm still learning how to use Motive Wave, but it is fantastic. I've been playing with it for the last 3 or 4 days with live data, and I'm extremely impressed, believe you me, especially with the drag and drop. It is just phenomenal. So what I'm looking for at the moment, I'm going to take these highs here. I'm also going to be looking at pivot points around the top end and the bottom end of the channel, and things that are going to affect me right now. I'm not going to go overboard with these. I can see this pivot point here. I can see it's been tested a couple of times. And when we talk about support and resistance, we talk about a zone of price. It's not a specific level. Things don't just bounce off a level. There's slippage. There's slippage in the way that algos react to certain prices, certain news events, data events, that sort of thing. So there's always slippage in the reaction. So you need a zone and not a price. So I'm just going to use this support area zone here. Really, really simple to use. And I'm going to put this on here. And I'm going to say it's about the line of best fit again, okay? So what I want, you can draw lots of zones on here, but it won't make any sense. I'm going to go and zoom into this one, and we're going to go through it bit by bit, okay? Because this is important. If you can frame your chart and trade between the zones, you are going to hit it pretty well. So you can see here, I've got a high which defines the top point of my zone. I've got these pivot points here and here which define the lower end of my zone. Look how the zone, the center line of my 4-hour channel hits the bottom end of that zone. That coincidence is very, very strong. We move left, we move right, sorry. We can see very recently, in the last day or so, okay, we gapped up above this week, we pulled down below, and then when we tried to move out, it failed. It came back in, found support, and then pushed off again from there. So this isn't an exact science. This is about framing the chart and looking for trades and getting fresh air, risk to reward, on the strategies that you're using between the zones. So let's zoom out again. Let's have a look for some more zones. I can see a high point here, and then all of these lows, this support here. So that forms another good zone with lots of coincidences there. We move that along, and we can tie in as well all of these lows here. So again, zooming a little bit, look at these lows here. Let's just go left a bit. So the top of this big pivot here is the high point of our zone, and then the low point of our zone is these pivots here. And look at these bouncing off the top of that zone 1, 2, 3 times. Okay, so since then, okay, it's not attacked it, it's not gone and tested it as support, but in the future it may do, because we know on lots of occasions on this intraday chart, this zone of price has been very, very strong, both in resistance and support. You can extend those rights by right-clicking, go to properties, and just click extend, click apply, and then it's on your chart, okay? Do the same for this one. Extend, apply, and away you go. Okay, we're near the highs now, so you know we probably would be looking for another zone in the next week or so. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this high point here and this high point of this pivot. I'm just going to extend that a little bit just to see if it's tested again in the next couple of days, week. But what I like to do is change the color of those, because this is temporary. Yeah. What I'm looking for really is a, again, I'm looking for a different, I'm going to underlay that, click apply. Okay, what I'm looking for here is, this is, you've got, when you're framing your chart, you've got some really strong support and resistance zones. But what you've got here is a new one which reached these highs. The high point of this zone is on this pivot here. The low point of the zone is on this pivot again. It's not been tested. So 2 tests of a zone really isn't enough for us to be confident this is going to be strong in the future. If it blasts through there in the next week or so, then really it's not a really great zone, unless it comes back down to test its support afterwards. So it stays yellow until it's tested multiple times. And we're probably talking 6 or 7 times it's tested. You know, right now it could come and test in this zone and come back down again. So we're starting to build a picture of how this is performing. What if the bottom drops out of this? Are we looking for some more zones? Absolutely we are. Excuse me. Again, it's line of best fit, looking at lots of pivots here. 1, 2, 3 big pivots, another pivot here, and then some support. So I'm just going to put one more on here. Again, until you start drawing, you don't know where it's going to end up. Let's adjust that. And I think that is spot on. So we've got a pivot test at the top, a pivot test at the top there. We've got a pivot test at the bottom, one at the bottom there, one at the top, one at the top. Got a lot of clustering at the bottom end of there. And then we come back down, test support in there, support right at the bottom of that zone. We've got resistance there. So as you can see, there's 5 or 6 tests there. Let's extend that to the right, because we don't know in the near future, in the next 3 months, this really could come and give us a hand, if you like. So we're going to go to properties, we're going to extend that and click apply. Okay, so now we've started to frame the chart. We've used the 4-hour to give us the channel, okay, and we can see, let me just cancel that a minute. We can see this point, the center line of the channel is coincidental with quite a few pivots, and with this new pivot as well in these zones, okay. The center point is critical. So when you're adjusting the outer bounds of that channel, be sensitive to having a lot more touches and tests, both from up above and below of that center line, because then you'll know if you've done it right, because you will have a lot of coincidences with your linear support and resistance zones and that center line, if you like, okay. So once you've framed your chart on the 60-minute, you can then use the strategy you want to use, okay. So if I just take this ES down now to say 15 minutes, excuse me, and I add our, well, my XBRAT algo, which I'll talk about in a little while. Okay, just give it time to do the calculations, because there's 12 points of decision in that XBRAT algo. Because what we're looking for is trades between the zones, okay? We're not looking to trade into trouble, okay? Whether it's, you know, going short into support or long into resistance. We're not interested in those sorts of trades. We're looking at a good risk reward from a strategy that we're using, I'm going to use this as an example, to make sure we've got enough risk reward where we're going to put stop or entry and that fresh air up above or below. So while that's calculating, once it's on your chart, it calculates in real time, but I'm just loading it up to the chart and it's going to take a little time to calculate. One of the things we need to look at as well when we're using the expert algo there, they've just printed there, we're going to be using high Kanashi candles, okay, averaging candles. Now, not a lot of people use these, but they are very, very, for 24-hour products, these averaging candles on high Kanashi are extremely useful to understand and basically sometimes to actually use them to trade and manage the trades. Can you add a note to the zone? I think so. Again, I'm still learning this, so bear with me, guys. Okay. Let's just right click. That's properties, formats. You can show info. Okay. You can show info for the price, the top and the bottom of the zone. Randall, okay. And you know, with all of your tools, you can add text to it anyway. So if you go to commentary, you can put a comment in there as well. So if you just drag that over here and just put, I don't know, temporary zone, temp zone. Click OK and just drag it over there like that. Okay, that makes sense. Perfect. Let's go a bit bigger there now. Okay, I want to zoom in. I want to go to the 5-minute chart now. I just want to talk about trades. Okay. So I'm going to talk about, it doesn't matter which strategy it is, but I'm just going to discuss this strategy here. Okay. Now, and it's about the time of the day as well. So you can see on this chart, I have got that temporary support and resistance zone, which has not been tested yet. And we've got that more permanent one here. Okay, now let's look at these signals. Let's look at this 6-star buy right here. 4-star, 5-star, 6-star buy. Is there enough risk to reward to the orange, to the temporary resistance zone to give us a decent trade? So, okay, we look at this trade 4, 5, 6-star. You know, the 4-star is this candle here. I can draw a line on with this. So I'm going to bring that over here. My entry is just above there, okay? And it would be for the 6-star as well. Just label that. Entry long. I'm going to format it. We're going to be green. Green for go. I'm going to format the line green for go, make it a bit thicker at 2, click apply. Okay, so that's the entry long. We've got a 4-star, 5-star, and a 6-star buy at this point here. Our stop loss is going to be below the recent pivot, and you'll understand why I'm doing this in a minute. So this is going to be our stop here, because we need to work out the risk to reward within our zones, okay? Let's just edit, get the properties for that. We're going to put stop loss here. Again, you can change you can save these as templates and everything like that on Motive Wave. Again, I'm starting to build the templates and things just now, so just bear with me while I do this. The line color is red for danger. 2, let's make it hashed there. Let's click apply. Okay, so I've got my framework. I'm not near the center line of that 4-hour channel. I've got my temporary support and resistance zone above. I've got the main support and resistance zones below. I've got signals using my expert algo. What's my risk to reward? Let's go to the Fibonacci. Let's go to the expansion tool. Let's just drag it on here. So our stop is down here and our entry is there. When you're using the expansion tool, those two should be the same to work out your risk to reward, okay? So the bottom one is your stop, and then the other two are on the same one. Now, I do have a template for this because I've been working on this. So I'm going to go risk to reward 2. Okay, so what this does is you measure a whole one. So if you're risking $1,000 on this trade, to the next support resistance zone, it's over 1 to 3, 1 to 4. It's way out there, okay? One of the things I also like to look on is where is this very, very short term support and resistance? That's just above the 50% profit times risk, okay? Now, one of the trade management strategies I use in this situation with the XFRAD algo is that I like to, once it closes above that 50% profit times risk, I move my stop to break even, because the XFRAD algo looks for, there's 12 points of control, lots of breakouts. I know I've got lots of fresh air because I've framed the chart, got great risk to reward. I've got a little bit of an issue here with a sort of overnight highs, that resistance, but that is below my 0.5. So that's 50% profit times risk there. The main thing for me is when it closes above there on this candle. So let's just go a little bit bigger here. Just bear with me because I'm still learning how to get around the chart. So what I do, so all I do is grab the stop and I want to put it there on this candle once it breaks above, okay? Because now we've broken above those overnight highs, this thing's going to fly, and it does, okay? And with high Kanashi, what you're looking for, remember, this is averaging candles. It looks slightly different to normal candles. When you get that first red candle pullback, that's where, just below that pivot, you would put your trailing stop, okay? Then it pulls back higher, and then we get the first red candle again up here. So we adjust the trailing stop again on that high Kanashi to there, and the next candle takes it out. That's fine. That's almost 300% profit times risk. $1,000 risk, nearly $3,000 profit, or whatever you want to do. You know, $100, $300 profit. But the idea is when you're framing your charts, you need to make sure when you get a signal, no matter what strategy you're using, is that because you've got that framework, you can understand the risk to reward to the next bit of trouble, okay? It's my XFRAD algo, AJ, and I will be giving everybody a discount code for that later on with a link with 20% off my XFRAD algo, and you're going to do some more examples using that now. So I'm going to go through it again. I'm going to do it oil this time, okay? Oil's been a bit rangy, but just recently in November, we've had a real good bull run. Yeah, I'm going to put my channel in first. Again, I see 2 peaks here on oil, which will give me a good run. Okay, with a 24-hour product, man, we're not looking to trade the gap. We're looking for things to settle down and trade during the week. For example, I took 80 ticks on gold today, okay? Just by using the XFRAD algo. Well, I used Harmonics as well. So it's about understanding how the markets behaves. I live in Europe. I don't trade that Sunday open. I want to go to sleep, okay? There's a long trading week ahead. There's no need to look at those gaps and everything like that. So let's go back to framing this oil chart on the 60-minute time frame. 1 hour channel in first. I'm going to drag it over. I love this drag and drop. It is really, really simple to use. Let's just get this right. Okay. It is a little bit of fiddling around, but once you've got it, it is really, it's on there, you know. And what I'm going to do there is going to drag that all the way down to the bottom to begin with. I don't know if that's going to be relevant, but what I'm going to do is just extend that a little bit to the bottom end. Yeah. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the center line on. Again, I'm going to use my template here. And then I'm going to look where the coincidents are on the center line. Am I right? Do I need to adjust anything? So we've got 2 touches on the top, which is great. If I just adjust this center line, the bottom line up a touch, does that make? Yes. Okay. So what I'm looking for here is looking for support on this pivot here. Okay. Lots of clustering around that center line there. So much. We've got a little bit of clustering and resistance here. The same here. The same here. Lots of clustering here. Support, cluster, support, support, support. Resistance, resistance, support and clustering. Okay. This is a good center line. It's a good channel. Okay. So this is oil right now on the 60-minute time frame. And that channel has been taken from the beginning of November on the hourly, because that, when we look at it, is the trend that we're in at the moment. This sideways action, we're not interested. But on this hourly time frame, I'm actually interested in this resistance zone up here and dragging that out, because if it comes to test it in the future, I really need to understand what's going on there. So I'm going to drag that support and resistance zone tool over. I'm going to bring that all the way through. Quite a fat zone, but I need to make sure I'm not trading into there. So again, I've got pivots. The bottom of my zone is this pivot here. The top of my zone is this pivot here, and the same with the bottom just on that pivot. So this is a fantastic looking zone. We test it from below here and it fails. It comes back to test the center line, then pushes through to the upper line there. Then we come back to the center line and we get lots of clustering and lots of range bound period through there. Eventually it does push up through. So that's going to be, you know, really, really critical. Now, again, we've got the bottom end of this range bound period that we also need to consider for the future. So I'm going to drag that over. I'm going to start putting these in a little bit here, just on there. Okay, so just, oops. Again, I'm going to make this a little fat because we've got support here, support here, support that goes into the zone, and a lot of support goes into the zone. And this bottom line here gives me the bottom end of that zone there. So as you can see, there's multiple attempts at this zone, mainly from below, from above. But we do get a bit of resistance here, then it pushes up quite easy. But that's an important zone as well. So again, I'm just going to click on those, right click, go to properties and extend here. Because they, in the next few months, will be critical if they come to get tested again. Okay, let's think about more about what we're doing since we broke out of that range and we're on this trend that we're in right now going into Christmas. So we've got to again look at this pivot here. Let me just adjust that slightly there. Okay, this pivot here that touches the upper bound, we've got to really consider that. So we'll drag that over here, and we've got support there as well. Okay, so the bottom of this pivot here is the top end of the channel, and the bottom end of the channel of this pivot here, got a lot of clustering around in there as well. So we're starting to frame the chart. Okay, don't be concerned that we've only got just over $1 and $1.20 in that zone. This is a nasty area to trade, obviously. Okay, so you can either, on the 3-minute chart, if you've got a great risk reward and you're breaking down through one of these, brilliant. And we'll have a look at some of those potentially in a minute. Again, we've got another touch on that top here, and we have quite a thinner zone there. Okay, so I want to take that. So I've got where that pivot touches the top of the zone and coincides with that bottom end of the the top of the channel and the bottom end of the zone. And then I've got the top of my channel is this pivot point here. But then when I look right, we've got tests here. We've got test at the bottom here. We've got testers support, testers support. Good zone. Good zone we're in right now. Have we got a temporary zone that's going to affect our trading? Ooh, hard to say. We are coming up to test this. Now, right now, I'm going to put this in. I'm going to put it in yellow. But this is going to be a really thin. Okay, because if I get a signal to go long on oil now, I want to make sure I break this high here. So I'm just going to change the color on that. I'm going to go for my temporary color, making sure it's underlaid. Okay, so this is where we are with oil. We tipped this on this day here. We came back down to test the main support and resistance zone. There's the center line of the channel as well. Look at that there. Okay, now we've tested it again. We're hanging on to the center line of the channel here. We got the top end of our zone here, and now we're trying to push through. So this is a 60-minute time frame. So I framed this chart. Let's go down and see what trading opportunities there were on oil in the last couple of days, because obviously we need to understand what's going on. Again, I'm just going to add the expert algo here. We'll do harmonics later. Don't worry, once the expert algo is loaded up, it does work in real time, but what it's doing is looking back and basically putting all the trades on that have already come in. So it takes a bit of time once you load it up to your chart, but once it's there, it works extremely fast. Absolutely, yes. To be honest, I swing trade stocks every single day. Okay, I can't show you stocks on Motive Wave right now because I've just got the data for futures, and this is what I want to concentrate on today. But it works. When you're looking at stocks and you're swing trading stocks, you should be looking at the daily time frame for your linear support and resistance zones, and your channels should be on the weekly time frame. That's the only difference. You're looking at larger time frames when you're talking on the equity market. Okay. Okay, here we go. So when to trade and when not to trade. You're getting 4- and 6-star buys into support, into resistance. You don't take the trades, okay? Now this is the trade. I love oil, European morning, okay? You've tested support. You got a 6-star buy here, okay? This is the gold pit open for Europe just here. This high pivot is really crucial for me. I need to be above there for my entry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my, if I get a 6-star buy just after the European stock market open, I'm really interested in this, okay? Entry, oops, long. Let's actually make a template while we're here. Let's do it. So let's do that. Let's do bold. Let's do OK. Let's change the it to green. Let's change it to 2. Save template as long entry. There we go. Apply. So European gold pit open. We have a little move up on oil. There was a 6-star buy on that candle for the gold pit open. Not really interested in those. I like things to settle. Comes back down to test the main support zone. We know it's that because we've spent the time framing our charts on the 60-minute. This is major support. We know we've got all the way up here, we've got that temporary resistance zone. So that's our entry. Our stop's going to be below this recent pivot, so quite a big stop. We'll make this into a template as well while we're at it. Okay, 46.53 to 46.95. It's not that big, really. You know, a few $100. Properties. So we're going to go stop loss. We're going to be red. We're going to be bold. Red line. 2 thickness. Hashed. Template. Save as. Stop loss. Okay. I've not been using this platform for more than 3 days, guys, and I'm learning how to do this really quickly. That's how easy it is to use. Okay. It is recorded, don't worry. Apply. So this tool is the labeled line, okay, in the general, okay. So now I've got my stop, now I've got my entry. I'm going to go to my fib tools again, the expansion, just drag it on. That low point goes on my stop, remember? The next 2 points rest on my entry. Put it out to the right. Then I'm going to hit my template and I'm going to load my risk reward too. Okay, so I know taking this risk after the European stock market open, which has tested my linear support and resistance zone, okay? It's got a 6-star buy, which is extremely, it's the highest level of long signal that you can get. Again, I'm not taking a 6-star short into support. You don't sell into support, okay? I've got my 6-star buy. I'm going to be sensible with my entry above this pivot. That's my entry. My stop's below this pivot. I put my risk to reward on, so 1 whole 1 to 2 into the middle of that resistance zone. It's 1 to 1.6, which is my minimum that I like. Once you know, before that, so I've got what I call fresh air. Okay, I've got great risk reward between my linear support and resistance zones. There is the center line of that 60-minute channel just here. Okay, can you see that? You see how it found resistance there and came back down, okay? So again, managing this trade is reasonably simple. It does go sideways. Oil's not as big a mover as a metal or an ES or something, but for me, just letting it ride. Looking at this pivot point here, when we come back, it comes back to test it again with a higher support zone. I know once it then blasts through and closes above that 50%, I can go risk-free, okay? We come back to test the 50% and get another 6-star buy, okay? Once it blasts through and tests that resistance of that center line of the channel, I'm going to move my stop. Whoa, 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 sorry. Picked up the wrong thing there. Just below that pivot there, okay? Let's just extend that a little bit. Okay, it comes up, it tests. It might have tiptoed you out and then goes up to test that support and resistance zone. But you've got to follow your rules. You get a 6-star buy here. You're not going to add any contracts into resistance, especially that center line of that channel. But what you can do is say momentum is picking up with this trade again. I can lock in and trail this below this pivot. Now, again, you've got choices here. At this center line of this channel, this is really failing to get through. You've got to say to yourself, do you know what? I actually don't want to lose any more. I want to win at least 100% profit times risk. That's where my trading stop's going to be. And these things, I talk to myself. I'm lucky I talk to my inner circle 4 days a week when I'm trading. So, you know, I'm saying this, you know, okay, we're testing this center line of this channel. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. It's just not pushing through, guys. Let's tighten the stop. We've risked $1,000. I want to win at least $1,000 on this trade. Okay, and that's how it goes. So that's oil. Let's go to gold now. Okay, Now gold, this is a really interesting chart for me, because on the 4 hour, you can see we've got a bearish bias here. So if I put a channel on, no, I wouldn't have been stopped out at the 50 fib line, because I waited for the big move and the big close above to adjust to that first, and then it pushed through and continued to go, Reinhard. Let me just go back and show you. So, excuse me, I've been talking all day. So we pushed through. I did close above there, but it's not a big move, okay? It's going sideways. It's forming a range. We get a higher support here, and then it pushes through, and we close really above. That's when I go risk-free, when it's closed above the 50% line, okay? It comes back to test. We get that higher support, okay, and then we get the 6-star buy. Once it pushes through the 100%, I'm at this pivot point here, okay? Then when it pushes up and tests that center line of the channel and fails to really break through, that's when I go aggressive, and I got took out here. Let's go, hopefully that, okay, no problem. Okay. So I've been doing this 20 years, guys. It's all about understanding behavior, yeah? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a 4-hour channel on this gold first, and then I'm going to put the 60-minute bullish channel on, because I think it's really important that you understand what's going off on the 2 time frames there. So let me just use those properties again. I'm on the 4-hour time frame. I want to, let's use the 6-hour. Oh, I don't like the colours on that one, do I? Bear with me. Let's use that template. Too quick clicking. Okay, there we go. Center line is pretty hot there. Okay, pretty hot. We've got lots of tests, resistance, clustering, support, resistance, loads of clustering support here. Center line's pretty perfect. Got 2 touches on the top. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5 touches on the bottom. Great 4-hour channel. I want to switch to the hourly now. Okay, so now we are still within that 4-hour channel. But for December, and I know we're not a long way in it yet, we've got potentially a channel forming here. It's not brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to push this up the top here. I'm going to move that up again. What I'm looking for is this may fail, but if it breaks out of that bearish move on that 4-hourly and it stays within the confines of this channel, I slightly adjust it. You know, this could be the bullish move on gold. Okay, so right now I just need to I'm going to go with this green one here so you can see the difference. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust the center, just adjust it slightly for the center line down there. Okay, so you can't see that very well. Hang on. Let's go dark green and dark green. Oof. Let's change the opacity on that to there. Okay, there we go. That's good. So this is the start of potentially gold moving out of this 4-hour bearish channel that we've had over the last few months. So right now, this is really, you know, until it tests and breaks out of there, I don't know if this is going to be good. But what I've done is given myself a chance and identified the move from the bottom end of this channel moving up. I've got a good center line here, resistance recently just here, got support, clustering here. We've got good touches on the bottom, we've got great touches on the top. So that's where we are right now. I then just want to zoom out a little bit because I just want to put the linear support and resistance zones on here. I can see we've got one up there. Then we just zoom out a little bit. Okay. And again, when you've got the crosshairs on your cursor, it makes it easier to look left and right for those support and resistance zones, and that is really a really good one here. So let's just drag that over. Okay, and let's drag that again. So we've got to define the upper bound and the lower bound of this zone. And what we're looking for is multiple touches on pivots. So again, we'll look really, really good. So we're testing resistance here, resistance here, resistance at the top end of the channel there. Got lots of clustering around here. We've got support that bounces out of the zone there as well. Lots of clustering. This really does define the top end of our zone, this big rejection here. And then we've got this one here. So that is a really, really strong zone. Let me get rid of that again. Hopefully, AJ, the recording, you'll see the cursor a lot better. Maybe I should have used a black background. There we go. There's another one. Just go left with that a little bit. So you get the gist. What I'm doing is looking for the upper and lower bounds of these zones with major pivots. Lots of coincidence. So this is a massive move down, and the lower bound of that channel, it bounces off and then finds resistance in this other one here. Comes back down to test, bounces off the top of the channel. We get tests within the channel. We get resistance and lots of resistance clustering on this channel. On this here. Resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. We get lots of clustering. We've just come back down to test it as support. Okay, really, really good looking zone. Have we got one down here? We've got lots of big rejections in here. That's, that's a zone here on its own, because recent rejections on there, let's just take it left. Okay, so here, rejection, 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 rejection. This is really good support, and we coincided with that 60-minute channel there as well. So this is we're starting to frame the chart now. So we've got some zones on there, and we would be looking for trades on smaller time frames between the zones. So we'd be looking to go long between those zones here, short here. We're looking at going long and short between these zones on smaller time frames. Now, I'm not going to go and do that because I've got them on other charts now, because it takes a while to initialize that XPRAD algo. But what I want to do now is I want to look at some freaky stuff, okay? Now, we have an automated harmonic pattern recognition tool we just launched from Motivate. What it does, so this is the hourly on gold. What it does is project the completion zone. It tells you it's a crab. It colors it in red because the resulting trade, if this crab pattern completes in that projected completion zone, we're looking for shorts. And look what happened. But look what happened when it got to our linear support and resistance zone. It keeps bouncing off. So on a smaller time frame, you can go short here, but you've got to have enough risk to reward on a strategy to actually take the profits if need be when it fails or gets support in this support and resistance zone. So longer term on this hourly, this crab pattern is perfect. It automatically tells you it's a crab forming. It does it in real time. It projects the completion zone. You see the D wave finished in the completion zone. We're looking for shorts. So then when we go down to the 5 minute, That's correct, Jeff. Linear support and resistance are those horizontal support zones. Non-linear is things like EMAs, okay? And we haven't developed the EMA cloud yet for Motive Wave, but that is pretty cool as well. The channels, and also I class harmonics as non-linear support and resistance, okay? And we'll go back to the 60-minute chart to show you that. So this is the 80-tick trade I traded today on gold on the 5 minute. Remember, on these highs, it completed on that 60-minute harmonic pattern, on that crab pattern, and then you're looking for shorts. There's a 5 and 6 star sell into support. There was a decent risk to reward of about 1 to 1.6, but then it just kept bouncing off. So we got initial 80 ticks. It pulled back up, it found resistance, it went back down again. We get another 5 star sell here, but the risk to reward to the support zone is no good. What we're looking for now is a higher move up and another go, or indeed a long signal, a 3, 4, 5 or a 6 star buy signal with lots of fresh air above. But we also need to consider on these highs where we completed that crab pattern on the 60-minute. So again, we're going to put this in as temporary, but if we're going to continue to trade gold today, we need to understand that this could be an issue, okay? So if we do get a long signal, our risk to reward, our target zone's got to be to here, because that's where on the higher time frame that harmonic pattern completed. Okay. Again, you are not going to look for a short with this 5 star sell signal into support. Okay. Okay, these work even on the 5 minute as well, the harmonic patterns. You know, these ones, for example, when we are testing support here, still getting used to how to adjust the chart. This was on, so okay, this was just a harmonic trade, pure and simple. The butterfly failed for the short because it didn't complete in the zone. The backed pattern completed in the zone. We would go long above the A pivot in reality, okay? We've got support zone underneath here, so we're clear. So this is another strategy, okay? This is not the expat algo, this is a harmonic. We know we're above support on the 5 minute. We've completed the back pattern in the projected completion zone. We go again, what would our entry be? For me, conservatively, we'd be above this pivot here, okay? Conservatively. An aggressive entry, you would get in probably about the 618 retracement here. But I'm British and I'm conservative, okay? So I'm going to hit properties, going to hit template, going to go long entry. There we go, okay? So there's my long entry. Let's just adjust that so you know where that is now. It's above that pivot. I'm going to put another one in there, my stop loss just below the D pivot there. That's pretty obvious to some, okay? I can't grab hold of it. Let me draw another one. Just going to put it just below. Properties, template, stop loss. Okay, there's my entry, there's my stop loss. I'm looking for longs. This harmonic pattern has completed. It's painted green, it's completed in the projected completion zone. I'm looking for a long. Yeah, I've got lots of fresh air all the way up to the next resistance zone up here in blue because I've taken time to frame my chart. I then go to my fib. I'm going to go to that expansion again. My stop loss is the first point. Entry is the other 2 points here. Okay. And let's go for my property template, risk reward 2. As you can see, it's probably 1 to 4 to that target zone. Very, very simple trade. and we framed our chart. We understand that when this harmonic pattern completes in the projected target zone, it's green, so we're looking for a long. We go long, and we got a great looking trade on gold there using Harmonic. So I'm trying to show you that no matter what strategy you are using, if you frame your charts with those channels, okay, and if you frame your charts with those linear support and resistance zones, when you get a signal or the strategy that you're using gives you a long or a short signal, in this instance here, you're not going to go short into support. This butterfly pattern failed anyway. It didn't complete in the zone, but the bullish pattern did. You got lots of risk to reward up above, okay? And it just continued to go. Yeah. Crab pattern here completed outside of the zone. You're not going to go short. You get a 5-star sell on the X-Brad algo. You're not going to go short into support. We come up to test on the 60-minute time frame. You've got that non-linear resistance zone. You get the 5 and 6-star sells. You've got enough risk to reward down to the bottom to the support. So let's go back and see and show you why I call it a non-linear support and resistance zone. So to form a harmonic pattern, there's lots of fib levels in there, and to be honest, why spend hours and weeks learning how to do that when the software can do it for you? Mark, where did the purple butterfly zone come from negating the short? Okay, I'm just gonna I'll go back to that in 5 minutes. So because this is a non-linear pattern, a harmonic pattern is non-linear. It works on lots of different fib levels, especially this projected completion zone. So this is non-linear resistance in this case. So when this pattern completes, look at the top, the start of the crab pattern is actually on my linear support and resistance zone. I didn't know that when I drew it, okay? It then comes back to test my support resistance zones down here. We then get a completion zone. So this completion zone is between two of my zones, but I cannot ignore it, because for a harmonic pattern to complete in the automated completion zone, a lot has to be right. Okay, so I then use this as a interim short-term resistance zone and look for shorts down to this support zone. If it breaks through this support zone, I'm looking for more shorts. So let's go back to the 5 minute. Where did the it's probably purple on your time on your chart. It's red on mine. So Mark, this crab pattern here, yeah, okay. So look where the completion zone is. It finishes at 1861.2. It actually completes at 1862.1. That is a failure. You don't trade the failures. It has to complete in the zone. Okay, does that make sense, Mark? Yeah. Okay, it's with the harmonic pattern algo that we've developed for Motive Wave. It automatically projects that zone, and it must complete in that zone for all the stars to be aligned, if you like. Okay, this one didn't, so the short was no good, even though we got a short X-Brad algo. Okay, let's try on a black chart. Okay, let's do something different to see if this works. So what I want to do is, anybody trade bonds? ZB here, it's a big boy trade. It's $32.50 per tick. It's not everybody's cup of tea, and I will only trade it in certain circumstances when all the stars are aligned and everything's perfect. I will look to trade this. But this is ZB. Again, this is a harmonic pattern on the 60-minute time frame. Okay, yeah, TLT is a good one. That's a cheaper trade than ZB. Absolutely, Jeff. No, there isn't a harmonic scan function yet. It has taken a lot of work to get the auto harmonic pattern recognition tool to work on the charts, and is spot on. Okay, look at this ZB, crab pattern complete in the zone, short. Okay, you're looking for shorts into this support, and then it pushes through, and then it bounces off my linear support and resistance zone there, and then we're coming down short again. Okay, so Steve, development next year will be moving forward with my Motive Wave developer to add alerts when you can maybe hopefully be able to set alerts when a harmonic pattern completes and things like that. So there's lots of it's taken a lot of development to actually get this to work, because we are actually, it's not just crabs, it's butterflies, it's gartleys, it's deep crabs, it's automatic, and it gives you those completion zones. So let's go back to the bonds, the ZB. On the 60-minute time frame here, we have a crab pattern complete in the automated trading zone here, and that basically gives us that non-linear resistance zone, okay, for either longs or if it's coming back up for the longs. So now if we go down to ZB on the 3-minute time frame, okay, so this is the XBRAT on the 3-minute time frame for ZB. Obviously I've got to go back a little bit. So now that's that same completion zone here that we talked about on the 60-minute. We're looking for shorts because that harmonic pattern is completed in that automated zone on the 60-minute. Now ZB is a big boy trade again, so you don't want to be trading it off the 60-minute unless you've got a $100,000 account. No, Randy, there's no better trade on a harmonic pattern. The main thing is it completes. It has to go through a series of fib measurements to complete that harmonic pattern. And there's a set number of patterns. Now, I don't do them all. The ones that are on here are the ones that give you the highest probability of move. So I've not included every single harmonic pattern because some of them are way out there and they don't work. So what I've included in the automated harmonic pattern is alternate bat, butterfly, crab, D-crab, and gartley. They're the ones that you need, okay? They're the ones that you need. So remember, on the 60-minute time frame here, we completed that harmonic pattern. Then we get a 6-star sell, okay? Let's go through the entry again for this. Now we're going to do a short entry. 6-star sell, okay, is on this candle here, okay? This is a short entry this time, so I need to do another template format. It's still green for go for me, even though it's a short entry, guys. I won't apologize for that. It's green for go. And that needs to be green, template, save as, short entry. This is good. I'm getting to do some of the templates as well. Okay, so that's my short entry. Oh, it didn't change the line to green now. I'll do it later. That's my short entry. The stop is just below the pivot. Now, again, with Heikin-Ashi candles, these are all negative candles. This one with a pivot is my stop. It's obvious with this particular algo strategy here. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in there. That's my stop. I'm going to put my risk to reward in there. Again, we use the fib, we use the expansion. We're going to put this, the stop is that first one there. We're going to drag that down to the entry. We're going to drag this one down to the entry. And then I'm going to put my risk to reward on. So I'm going to get to the template, go to properties, template, risk to reward. Okay, so that risk to reward is 1 to 2 to the top end of that zone. That's pretty good, yeah. So we take that 6-star sell, and that's probably worth, I don't know, quite a few ticks. But the main thing is I've had that non-linear support and resistance zone formed by the completion of that harmonic pattern on the 60-minute time frame. I've then gone down to a day trading time frame and used my expert algo to look for trades. I get a 6-star sell. I've got an entry just below the low of the signal candle. Stop loss is above that pivot. My risk to reward is 1 to 2. I'm going to trade it. Yeah, simple as that, really. Then look at these. Okay, these then we get a 5- and 6-star sell here. Now, again, doesn't matter what strategy you're using, you need to know when to get in a trade and when not to get in a trade, and framing your chart really helps in this situation. So let me just go a little bit bigger. So we have an attempt to push through this linear support and resistance zone. Remember, this is the 3-minute chart, but this is holding from the 60. Then we get a 5- and 6-star sell. I look left. Oh, it failed here. I won't be interested in this sell until it gets below. Oops, I've got to drag this here. Those lows. Okay. My risk reward is probably pretty good because my stop will be probably just above this this zone. Okay, and the next zone below is here. So the risk to reward is good. So even though I get a signal, I know I'm messing around in this linear support and resistance zone. I've got to look left. I've got to get below these lows. So yeah, I can set up this trade, but I'm not going to enter it until it drops below there. Okay. Then we get another 6-star sell. Remember, the main direction of our trade has been dictated by that 60-minute harmonic pattern completing in the completion zone. So now we get a 6-star buy coming out of this zone. My entry sensibly would be below the previous attempt at coming out of this zone. Okay, my stop loss will be just above this last pivot. Okay, what's my risk to reward down to the next target zone? Well, support and resistance zone. I call them target zones as well. Go to the fib, go to the expansion. Remember this, the bottom one goes on the stop. Then, because we're going short, we bring these down, both on the entry here. Let's bring it all the way across. I'm going to click on there, go to properties, go to my template, risk to reward. Okay, so my risk to reward is 1 to 1.6 or 1 to 2 into the center of this target of this support resistance zone. So let's go back through it again. My harmonic pattern is completed on the 60-minute. It's completed in a way, it's colored red. I'm looking for a short. Okay, let's go back to the 60-minute. All the stars are aligned for bearish trades here. Okay, and also now, if you think about it, I'm starting to form a channel down, coming down as well. So completed in this crab pattern's completed in the completion zone. I'm looking for shorts. I've already traded one short. I've been going sideways, literally sideways in the support and resistance zone, and they're that sticky if you get them right. Then we get a 6-star sell on the expert algo here. This is a signal candle. I look left. I've got to go short below that pivot. Okay, my stop's above there. Always get the sensible entry strategy in first, the sensible stop, then work out my risk to reward. If it's no good, I don't trade it. Okay, in this case, it was 173.029 down to 172.21. That was a big trade for ZB. So hopefully you can see that those framing your chart is so important. And there's some static things that you can do, those linear support and resistance zones. Okay, let's just go back to gold. Go back. Okay, zoom out a little bit. So the static ones, if you like, there's two. Well, in this case, we're just going to talk about two. In another webinar, I'll talk about the EMAs and things like that. But right now, we've got on gold, we've got a 4-hour bearish channel coming down. But From the bottom of that, on the hourly, we're starting to form this bullish channel. It's only early days, but we're starting to do it. So these are static, if you like. And then we've got these linear support and resistance zones. Okay, so they're the static ones. Yeah. Now, the non-static ones, the non-linear ones, are the harmonic patterns, because these will generate as price action generates. The up and the down moves, and they're all measured. The fib levels are right. The automated target zone for that harmonic pattern goes. So this is not static. This just runs in the background on your chart. Yeah. Whether it's the 1 minute, the 30-second, the 5 minute, the 60-minute, the 4 hour, they run. When they complete, they are the non-static, the non-linear support and resistance zones formed by the harmonics. And when it happens and it's colored red, you're looking for shorts. When it's colored green, you're looking for longs. Okay. Here's another example. We go back on gold. I use probably 7 different platforms, and everything is slightly different, but this is very easy to use. So we this time get a butterfly pattern. Now look at this. Okay, I've looked left. This A pivot forms support in my linear support and resistance zone. The B pivot, though, that price action, resistance in there. C, and then the D pivot for this butterfly finds resistance in the completion zone and also in one of my linear support and resistance zones. This is just perfect. Okay. Then you go down the time frames and look for short trades to the zones. Yeah, it pulls back, we get a break out of this zone, and it comes back down again. So this static, non-static, linear, non-linear support and resistance zones, again, watch the recording. If you are framing your chart with the statics, then you've got something like the harmonics, which is non-static and giving you those, but when they coincide, blimey, you've got to trade it. Okay. Now I don't use a log scale for the chart. No. Okay. So guys, it's 20 past 7 p.m. here. I now want to open up for questions. Okay. Obviously gone through a lot today. It is recorded, but if you can take away how to frame this chart, or any chart, that is my job done. Obviously, I've showed you 2 really cool tools with the harmonic pattern software and the XBRAD algo that gives the signals automatically. So questions. Okay, so 5, the XBRAD algo works on 12 decision points, okay? 9 decision points have to be in the right order to give you a 3-star, and then it goes through to give you 12, a 6-star with the 12 points. Okay, so the idea is over the last 20 years, I've developed an understanding of behavior, and I've used certain tools, but not at default. So when you talk about stochastic MACD cross, I don't use the default settings. When I talk about EMAs and EMA clouds, I don't use traditional ones. So I had a conversation with a developer, and we talked about how I would grade a trade. And, you know, basically, would I take this trade? How would I grade it using these particular tools? And now I'm getting older, to have those 12 different indicators on my chart was way too complicated. I needed something that would just print 6-star sell. And I know from that, it's a really high probability sell. Yeah, as long as I've got fresh air and I haven't got any support underneath me. And then it's the same for the buys. Okay, so it's about grading the trade, but also you need to understand how to frame the chart as well. Once you do that, you have got some really good trading opportunities. So I go to silver here. go down to the 5 minute. So does that make sense, Reinhard? Okay. So this is silver chart. Okay, silver chart, 3 minute. This is the 60-minute support and resistance over the bottom, and there's one up the top somewhere. Or did I draw it in? Okay, so what happens is, for a 5-star, there's 11 points of control. It's called the XBRAT algo. You can learn more on globaltradingsoftware.com. So let's just talk about these two. So Reinhard, we are going sideways in this linear support and resistance zone. Then all of a sudden, my XBRAT algo on this 5-star buy here, 11 out of 12 of my indicators are on the right side to give me a buy signal. I am seeing it's lifetime. Okay, I'm not doing monthly or anything like that. It's lifetime support, free updates, upgrades, and all that sort of stuff. So when we add alerts to Harmonics, for example, it will be part of the indicator suite, and you will get the upgrade for free. Okay, so it's just a set price. You buy it for life, and you've got it for life. You get the support, and you get the free upgrades. Okay, and then when you get the 6-star buy here, you've got 12 out of 12. Really, really strong buy signal here. So this goes sideways in support. We're actually developing an auto trading system for XBRAT as well. You've got to go long here, and this is a huge trade on silver. It's $25 a tick on silver. It's huge. You get another 6-star buy here. Okay, so even if you haven't taken this one is at 7:25 a.m. European time. You've got to take it. I certainly would. So again, I'm looking left. I'm looking at this recent pivot here. That's going to be my entry. My signal candle's here, but I need to go long there. Okay, just above there. The next one is my stop. This is where my stop's going to be. Remember, these red candles on Heikin-Ashi, that pivot there is where my stop's going to be. I'm going to go to my fib, going to go to the expansion tool, put the bottom on the stop, and then my 2 entries. Whoops, what happened there? It's been a long day. No trading tomorrow, Christmas golf day. Okay, I'm going to go then to templates. But, you know, the next support resistance zone is way up there. So, you know, this is 7:25 on silver, European time. Okay, it's just moved, had a good move out of that support overnight. We've got an overnight high here. We're coming into that Europe. The gold pit opens at 8 a.m. I'm always up at 7 o'clock to try and get these sort of trades. You go long at this price, okay, and eventually it tips high. Your stop, remember, trailing stop. You get these pullbacks and rejections on this Heikin-Ashi, you trail it. Here, you trail it. I mean, this is 225, 635. I don't go into amounts of money, but this is a big trade on silver. We are converting it into an auto trading bot. Okay, we're doing that. The next quarter is to do that. Okay. So at the moment, it provides the signals. The next iteration, it will provide alerts. So I'm going to be speaking with my Motive Wave developer to then get version 2 out in the next quarter, in the first quarter next year. That when this, we'll be able to then send alerts, and again, we'll speak with Motive Wave, see how their app works, how this all works. So, you know, if you want silver on the 5 minute and you want to get an alert, boom. Okay, we do have a Discord group which is free. Okay, that gives examples of alerts there, and that is, you can sign up for that for free. Okay, and what it does is just gives you a little hand, and it's not on every single time frame. Okay, I'll put that in the chat there. But what that does, for example, is just literally, okay, this is XPRAT, it's powered by XPRAT. You're looking for a silver, it gives alert here. It's a 5-star buy on the 5 minute. So at the moment, this is just in beta testing, so we can get the bot developed to give those live in real time. Okay. Randy, yeah, I've used Elliott Wave with XPRAT quite a few times, but again, we haven't developed our Elliott Wave indicator suite for Motive Wave yet. But again, you will notice that, especially on some of the larger time frames here, you will get a wave 4 pullback, okay, like this one here, 5 and 6-star buy, you've got good entries to go long. So this is the hourly on copper, for example, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. I can see it straight away, but with the Elliott Wave indicator suite that we will develop for this, it gives you a pullback zones, your automated 5th wave target zones, blah, blah, blah. The main thing is when that comes back down to test the bottom end of this channel, you get 5 and 6-star buys on the XPRAT. You're going to go long coming out the other side of this channel, and there it goes. Okay. This 6-star signal, I would not, because there's not enough risk to reward into that next support resistance zone. Okay. Let's look at it and let's work it out. Okay, we get a 6-star buy signal here. If we want to enter just above there, the previous pivot is here. This is like a 1-to-1. It's no good. I can see it straight away. Whereas this little baby, okay, I've got this support and resistance zone. I've got a good, I've got a signal candle here. Let's just put these back on again. Where is my lines? I know my entry needs to be above that zone, okay? One last example. I need to go and have my dinner. Where are we? Properties, template, long entry. Now, on this one, I'm probably going to use this little pivot here just before the 6-star buy, because it's below my support and resistance zone. I know this is going to hold as support. I could even be quite aggressive because we didn't get taken in this long yet. It comes back down to test the bottom end of that support and resistance zone, and then we get taken in. My stop loss is going to be just under there, okay? And then when I work out my risk to reward, I've got lots of fresh air, okay? You need to write this on your wall in your trading office. Lots of fresh air, okay? Properties, template. I have got a 1-to-3 risk to reward. It's about being patient, okay? This trade down here, you're right in the middle of the zone. Being patient and waiting for this signal gives you a massive risk to reward and a lot greater probability of a trade. This is why we frame the chart. Any more questions before I go, guys? It's been fun. I love using the Motive Wave platform. I actually started using it every day. I even used it during my trading today for the first time as well. And I'm quite excited about developing more for it because it's very simple to use. Okay, Jason, I think over to you. I don't think there's any more questions.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. All right, so thank you, Paul. That was an excellent presentation. I'd also like to thank everybody for joining the webinar today. Appreciate you taking your time to join us. If you haven't tried MotiveWave yet, you can visit our website to try our 14-day free trial. You can also find Paul's custom studies on our website by hovering over the resources link at the top and then select the marketplace link. So that's all I have. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you.